Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. It's the first May table talk and I'm giving away a kit. Yeah, giving it away. Yes, hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff, the first table talk of May. I don't know where the year's going, seriously. Anyway, if you are one of my new subscribers, a big welcome and a big thank you for subscribing. It's greatly appreciated. If you've not seen a table talk video before, then what we do is we talk about what happened in the week that's just gone on and what we're planning to do the week ahead, and we spice it up with bits of family news and anything that, you know, is major that might affect what happens on the channel. And we also throw in a little bit of progress on my new venture into growing vegetables, just for a bit of fun and because people were interested, actually. So we do all sorts of stuff. It's very eclectic. I couldn't say that we definitely do this, this and this on it, because it changes a little bit every week and the news changes a little bit every week. But if you want to keep up with what's coming along on Table Talk, on the channel, I should say, then Table Talk's the place to be, especially as we have over the next number of weeks, we have a new feature where we'll be either giving away or selling off at a very discounted price a model kit. So stay tuned to find out more about that. First thing I'm going to say is this isn't the one we're giving away. So everyone rest and relax and take a deep breath. So without further ado, let's crack on. So let's start with the Bismarck, shall we? I got this kit on Saturday of last week. So a week ago today, in the morning. I got this kit off a gentleman, so let me talk you through what's gone on there. So as most of you know, just over a month ago, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I can't remember now, I became quite poorly. We're still looking into it. I've got an ultrasound next week, which is part of that investigation. But as it happens, I'm feeling a fair bit better, to be honest. We've treated one element of it and I'm a lot better. But over a period of 3 weeks or so, when I was doing nothing, but some videos were still coming out that were preloaded, I was getting an awful lot of lovely messages and support from you subscribers who are pretty much regulars that I see making comments fairly regularly, and come and watch some of the live videos and bits and pieces, and regularly on the Table Talk video and what have you. And I've been absolutely blown over by all those comments, as I said last week. And so one particular subscriber, going by the name of Neil, reached out to me and said, I know you're not feeling so well. I'm in the process of thinning down my stash. I've got two large ship kits that I'm going to sell, but if you'd like one of them, you can have it free of charge, honestly. And the two kits he was offering me was the Scharnhorst, which everyone knows I've got, and the Bismarck. So I thought this was a real kind gesture, and it actually solved a little problem for me, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So I went and met Neil last Saturday. It was all a bit clandestine, met in a car park, in a pub, and so on. He passed on this kit. We shared a few words, and he lives half an hour or so away from me. So we've had a little bit of a talk. We've got a shared interest in the North Atlantic war and what have you, and we've been talking about maybe car sharing down to Telford this year. Yeah, it was really nice to meet Neil, and Neil, a massive thank you for this. You don't know how much this means to me. So we'll talk about that as well. So this is Trumpeter's Bismarck Kit, which is now, believe it or not, 10 years old. How do I know? Because I actually got this kit when it first came out 10 years ago. I was one of the first people to get it. And at that time, 10 years ago, I was an admin on a Partworks forum, and I started building it on that forum. And I was using the Edward etch set and the MK1 etch set. And we did all the hull, and then we put the wood deck down, and then we started working on the lower part of the structural details. Did a little bit of scratch building, made a couple of modifications, was ploughing on with it, and then I had a problem with the deck. The deck started bubbling, and what was happening was it was delaminating from the adhesive. So I'm not quite sure why. I've never had that problem before or since, to be honest, but the adhesive was remaining on the deck, and the actual wood laminate was delaminating from it, and it was bubbling up. So I parked the project, and then later on, when Scale Decks brought out some decks, I got hold of a set of decks. The plan was to review them and what have you. Never got around to it because I fell out with the forum. Didn't go back on the forum. Resigned my job and what have you. And then later on, we started doing the channel. So for the best part, well, for 10 years, that kit has been lounging in the attic, part done, and actually in that time it's moved house twice. It's collected some dust, it's had some knocks, some bumps, and it's got a bit of damage on it. And really, I was sort of right, need to ditch it. So this is a bit of a lifesaver, because this will be a complete labour of love build for me. As many of you know, the Bismarck has a significant part of my family history involved, and so this is a ship that I've grown up knowing about, and I'm quite passionate about the story and what have you. So I am really, really looking forward to building this. Now, to be honest, I nearly bought this kit when I started the channel, with the intention of building it, and I'd completely forgotten. So Neil, if you're listening, I know you are. I said to you that I had a laminate deck for it, and now I had the kit for the deck. But actually, I'd forgotten. I'd ordered the Pontos sets, so I have the basic and also the advanced, and I seem to recall I got them when they came out, but they've never been opened, never really been looked at or used. So I actually have the full Pontos upgrade sets for this. I've got the remainder of the Edwards set that I never used, other than on the deck fittings. I've got the remainder of the MK1 set that I never used, other than the fittings. The MK1 set and the Pontos sets, both basic and advanced add-on, don't necessarily cover the same things, so you've got greater coverage, and I've got lots of duplication. I've also got some resin sets that came out, so things like the cable reels that are bulkhead mounted with covers on, and other bits and pieces. I can't really remember. I'm going to have a look at it. But what I effectively did on the old kit was build the lower deck, the funnel, a couple of ship's boats, I think. So most of that is intact in the way of etch. So this will be an ultimate build, because I've pretty much got everything you can imagine you can get for this, and I now have the kit to go with all of that. I'm now planning, as you know, to do the Scharnhorst, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. So this is still a back burner project, but possibly what we might do after the Scharnhorst, maybe. I don't know. Right now, I'm quite excited about it, but I don't know how that's going to pan out. So when it comes to 1-200 ships currently, I've got the Scharnhorst, I've got the Bismarck, I've got the Yamato, and I've got the Hood. And with the exception of the Yamato, I've got aftermarket for all of those. And in the case of the Hood, I've got the resin funnel correction set from Nigel's modelling bench. So again, got everything you can imagine for all of those kits. So this is going to be a real labour of love, because obviously my grandfather and his brother were involved in the Bismarck chase, the sinking of the Hood and the sinking of the Bismarck. So it's very close to my heart. And Neil, a massive, massive thank you. I have committed to Neil that I will build this on the channel, and I absolutely will. And I'm looking forward to doing it. But what we're going to do is we're going to warm up with the Scharnhorst, and then we might get to Bismarck Ultimate Build. And what I've always wanted to do, I mean, I've built several 1-350 scale Bismarcks over the years, and I've always sort of done them museum standard and glistening. I'd really love to weather that. The North Atlantic will give it a bit of a battering, even as a fairly new ship going out and with a fairly new coat of paint on it. It still will have got a little bit of a battering, particularly on the hull. So I think it will be an awful lot of fun. But we're going to do a practice run on the Scharnhorst. So let's talk about the Scharnhorst then. So in the week, I was up in the attic and tidying my attic. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. And I've managed to get down my instructions from the Scharnhorst. So I've got those, and we're working on those. And I've done the first impressions of the MK1 upgrade set, and I'm working through the instructions of those so that I've got a plan. So a little bit later on in the video, if I remember, I'll show you what we're doing with that. So that's the sort of 1-200 update. There are some very lovely people in the world, and a lot of them are amongst my subscribers. So thank you, guys. I am massively, massively flattered by all the kind words. And Neil, you're a gentleman and a scholar. I will build this on the channel, and you will see that come to life for you. Okay. Right, what did we do this week? Well, we started the week with the Mig Wood Selection Box. I keep calling it a selection box. Solution box is what it actually is. So a lot of people were interested in that. What I'd say is it's a good way of buying into all those products. It will certainly save you some money. But you get the whole thing together, and you get the little extras like the little how-to cards. So there's one for light wood, one for dark wood. They're effectively very similar, but you swap out a couple of the products. So all in all, I thought that was a fantastic little product. But if you've got a lot of MIG products anyway, what I'd say is go onto the website, have a look at what you get in there, and just buy anything that you might not have, and that's probably a cheaper way of doing it. And then if you're new to wood effects, there is that book, which is really quite a good investment if you're new to wood effects. Having read the book a few times, what I'd say is there were some techniques I'd not thought of before in there, which were quite interesting. Some techniques that I knew about. And actually, I've ended up taking ideas from several of the fully laid out techniques and going, actually, I'll use a bit of that, a bit of that, a bit of that. And that's worked well for me on the go-to-build as people have been seeing. I think sometimes people are a bit daunted about doing wood grain, and you really don't need to be. It's just a bit, get yourself some plastic card and have a play. It's not difficult, and if people think that it would be sensible to do a tutorial, because I guess not everyone's watching the go-to, then we might. might do that. Someone said do some tutorials. Well, yeah, okay. I don't like to pretend that I'm in any shape or form an expert at this, and I know some of you have pointed out that I might not view myself as an expert, but I've got more knowledge than other people. I've just got more experience, but we all have our own ways of doing it. So case in point is on my last build video, I'm chopping away at these vinyl tyres, and a couple of people are saying, oh, put them in the freezer and then you can do it a lot easier. I'd never heard of that before. So there's always something to learn, but wood effects is not something to be scared of. You just need to practice. And all you're really doing is scraping lines in a surface of paint, ultimately. Anyway, that's a great product. And a lot of people like the review and were interested. So thank you very much for that. Then on Wednesday, which is when my builds go out, so Wednesday evening, 9 or 9:15 my time, depending on what I've got on with my daughter. We did the first of the commercial vehicle builds, which I'd wanted to get out earlier on, but with one thing and another, that hasn't happened. But you can see she is now built. Let's just flick the spot lamp on. So she is now built. I am massively, massively happy with that. And I have shared a couple of pictures on Facebook, and the comments that everyone is saying is about the finish. Now, I have been doing automotive finishes in quite a complex manner with layers of primer and then layers of paint and then layers of varnish and rubbing down in between. And I've never been massively, massively happy. And you always seem to manage to get some dust on it. It doesn't help that I tend to wear jumpers, and I am mindful of taking them off when I'm doing top coats and things. But this was much simpler, and this is the best automotive finish that I have ever achieved. And you will see this obviously in the final episode of the build of this. But it is simply one coat of primer and 2 thin coats of Humbrol 19 gloss enamel, airbrushed on. That's it. I haven't even top coated it, and it looks splendid. So I will carefully try and bring this to camera. And actually, what I'll do is I'll take a couple of pictures and plop them in, and you'll see them now. Let's hope I don't forget to edit that in, because I'll look daft otherwise, won't I? And you thought I'd forgot then for a sec, didn't you? Honestly, you did. Anyway, yeah, really, really happy with how this has gone out. And I had right at the end, I've got to be honest, I was rushing a little bit because I actually finished this on the last day of my deadline, about lunchtime. I filmed a little bit. Right, here's my phone, date, time. I said, I'm done. And then I thought, no, I'm not. I haven't put the decals on. Other than putting the decals on, and then put the decals on immediately after. So it was done on the day. But actually, that rush in this instance has helped me out, because I decided I didn't have time to do any weathering of the vehicle, but I did weather the ladder. So what we've got is we've got a weathered hose pipe, a weathered ladder, and everything else is nice and shiny. So I've got this impression of a well-maintained vehicle, but the parts that get used look used, and it's turned out really nice. So I'm very happy with it. My partner loves it, said it looked great, so all very good. So yeah. So yes, if you missed it, we focused on the chassis in the first episode, and yeah, like I say, I'm happy with it. Build diaries are now coming out, but that's not what you'll see next week. So we also had my little bit of Lego building on the 4th of May. I enjoyed doing it. It took forever. It was just a little bit of fun. 4th of May was coming up. I'd got an X-Wing Lego kit. So the sort of the two came together in my head. Having now done that, what I would say is that style of video, cool, you need a lot of time to do it. So it's not something I intend to do very often, if maybe never even again. Yeah, stop start. It looks good, but it's a difficult thing to do. Although my youngest loves doing them. She gets a Lego out. She does all these stop start fights and stuff with her Lego figures. So she really enjoys them. But yeah, it was a bit of fun. Nothing too serious. But yeah. Next week, what have we got coming up? Right, well, on Monday we've got a product review, something for your airbrush. It's really a handy little add-on for your airbrush. So if you're interested in that, watch that. Wednesday will be part 6 of the go-to build, which is primarily focused on the seat. I'm still in final editing of it. So I'm not sure. It might be a slightly shorter video. At the moment, it's just over an hour. But the building of the seat buckles is about 25 minutes long, and it just feels a bit long. So I'm probably going to condense that down a little bit, and we'll end up with a shorter video, because there's a natural stop when you finish the seat. And then go on to something else. And this weekend, I'll be focused on doing more go-to-build, now this is finished, and getting material for the next couple of videos. So that's sort of the plan this weekend. So it'll be go-to next week. And then I'm hoping to squeeze another video in. So probably on the Friday, we will have the comparison video between Wingnut Wings and Copper State models. So it's a really interesting video. So it's all recorded, I just need to edit it. So as long as I get time, we'll get that edited. But we've got a long weekend, so I should be able to shoehorn that in. But if I don't, I don't. I'm not going to get stressed about it. And then we're back to a table talk. So that's the week ahead. Got some interesting stuff coming up, I think. Yeah. Like I say, focusing on building go-to stuff, then we can flick back onto the Queen Mary 2. I'm doing some little bits and pieces in the background, but not much. And also, we've got the planning of the Scharnhorst going on. So the planning usually takes quite some time. So let's talk about that a minute. So when you're about to build a large-scale kit, pre-planning is really important in my view, and that's what I've been doing with the Scharnhorst. So I have a few different steps, and actually my very first video was about how to organise instructions. It's not a very good video, but it does get it across. But I'll just quickly explain what I've been doing this week. So my first step is to resequence the instructions that Trumpeter give you, and also break them down into more steps. So you can see I'm at step 31 on the instructions, that's my step number 86. And that's because they will have steps within steps, and you need to break them up. So if we take, for example, step 25 there, I've broken that into 3 steps, as you can see. And the reason I do that is, firstly, it's a little bit easier to read the instructions, but most importantly, if you're using aftermarket stuff, breaking it down means that you're less likely to miss something in terms of putting photo etch on, but you're also able to focus on a smaller part of the job, and by renumbering them, you can do them in the sequence you want. So typically, Trumpeter will give you a load of sub-assemblies, and then you do some building and use some of those sub-assemblies, and I don't build like that, so I changed that. But I have to say, these Scharnhorst instructions, and I think I said this during the first impressions videos that I did, are some of the best I've ever seen from Trumpeter in terms of a sensible build sequence. So the sub-assemblies are immediately when you want them. The flow is very good, and actually I've not done much in the way of resequencing at all, because the flow is pretty much how I build. So I'm quite happy with the flow. I've largely just been adding additional steps in just to break it down to make it easier for these. So that was step one. Step two is going through the Mark 1 instructions and cross-referencing them with those. So I know that when I'm on step 72, that I need to get the Mark 1 3D printed parts out and photo etch out. But I used to mark them up on the instructions. I don't do that anymore. I now do a spreadsheet. So let's have a quick look at the spreadsheet. So here is how I'm organising my Scharnhorst instructions. So down one side, first column, is my sequence number. Then I cross-reference that with the instructions sequence number. So you can see the steps are pretty much not changing order. I'm just adding more steps. You can see my step 9, 10 and 11 and 12, for instance, are all part of the instructions step 7. Then we'll do a Mark 1 sub-assembly. So there are a number of sub-assemblies in the Mark 1 set, and I reference those. So you can see there on my step 14 and 15, there's AM3 and there's 12 being used on both of them. So they're probably guns or something like that. And then I put the page number on, so it's easy to find. Now, like I say, there's several page 1s and page 2s. So I have actually given letters to some of the pages, which is why you can see an A there next to the 12 on step 8. So it's just a way of navigating it. If there's a bit of deck, then I've referenced the deck number. So WE, WB, but actually that's also the kit part as well, because in the Mark 1 instructions, they label their decks with the part numbers on the kit. So nice and easy to find. And then I can put some notes in if I want. So you can see on the first one, which is basically putting the spars in the hull, I've got some additional notes in there, like alter the bow deck, alter the scuttles, and possibly alter the prow. And then later on you can see I've put add the anodes, and there's some other bits and pieces that we might add at that stage or might not. So it just allows me to anything that's in my mind I can dump there, and then when I come to that step it just refreshes my mind. And it's as simple as that. I'm not listing out all the part numbers and saying this part has these etch parts on, because it just takes too long. You just need to cross-reference the kit step with what the photo etch is that you need for it. It's as simple as that. So there you go. And I have 150, was it? 158 steps in total. And that's how I do it. It's very, very simple. It's easy to follow, and I'll be able to do it all digitally when I'm building. Right, let's talk about the stash and how my stash might benefit you. So I spent 6 hours last weekend going through my stash because I'm at capacity and want to create some space. So the reason I want to create some space is there's always new kits coming out, and every once in a while one will just tickle my fancy. So this week, for example, Tsukimura put their new Focke-Wulf on pre-order. And in the UK, the cheapest place I've found it is Jumbly's. So I've ended up doing that. I've got it on pre-order with Jumbly's. So I'm looking forward to that. And it's the same as the 109. It's a one-off kit, and you get a little resin pilot with it because it's the initial release. So expect it sometime in the autumn probably. But I've got that on pre-order. So I've ordered a new kit. I've got nowhere to put it, so I need to create some space. So I've gone through it and I've created a small pile of kits that I need to get rid of. So what I've decided to do is I'd like to generate some money from some of those kits and put that back into the channel. And what I mean is use that money to buy kits, to do first impressions and to review them. And then I might sell those kits, possibly for less than I've bought them. So I've got a whole collection of kits. I've got small kits, I've got some bigger kits. So some of them I'm going to sell and some of them I'm just going to give away. And that's going to start with you guys, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer it to you, the subscribers that watch Table Talk, and you're going to have first refusal on the kit. So how it'll work is I'll tell you what the kit is, I'll show you the kit, talk about its condition, give you an understanding of it. Most of them I've got a first impressions of anyway, so you're not all of them, but most of them. So you can always go and have a look at that. And like I say, some of them I'll offer to you for free. So it won't cost you anything to get hold of the kit. I won't charge you shipping and I won't charge you for the kit. Others of them I'm going to sell because they've got aftermarket in, or they're quite high value, or they're relatively new, and they will be sold to you at a bargain price. I'll cover my postage, particularly for the bigger ones, and then I'll sell them to you at a price that is much better than the going rate. If no one's interested in it, then I'm just going to chuck it on eBay and flog it, basically. So I'm giving you first refusal as my subscribers to any of these kits. So we're going to start in a minute with the first one, which is going to be a giveaway, which is a nice one as well because it's a fairly new toolkit, and I just happen to have two of them, so I'm not losing anything. So how is it going to work? Well, it's going to work by you expressing an interest. So I'll need you to put in the comments below that you're interested in the kit. Then I'll take all those names, and on next week's Table Talk, we will pull a name out of a hat, and whichever one I pull out of the hat will be whoever's won the kit. And then I will message you and ask for an email so that you can send me your postal information, and then I'll wing it on to you. Simple as that. And that's exactly what we'll do for the ones that I'm selling. If there's multiple interests, I'm going to give you a price. We're not going to do an auction or a bidding war. I thought about it at first, but then I thought, here's the price. If you're interested, let me know. Pull your name out of a hat. You've got a fair chance of winning. And it might be you're the only person interested. But some people watch this several days later. So I will give it a week. We'll do it while I'm filming it on a Friday lunchtime. Pull it out of the hat and do it on camera in front of you, so you know it's all fair, even though it won't be live. That way, you've got as fair chance as anyone else. So I think that's fair. And I've got some really nice kits in there. I've got a fair number of ship kits because they're 1/700 scale, and I'm just never going to build them. They're too fiddly now for my eyes or my patience. As I've got a bit older, I've got a bit grumpier about building small fiddly things. I like bigger things for some reason. Don't know. It's just what's happened. So my 1/700 ships, they're all going to go up for sale or giveaway, depending on what they are. I've got a fair number of 172 aircraft, where I've got duplications, or I bought some of the budget ones, and they'll all be pretty much giveaways or very, very low cost just to cover postage possibly. So yeah, there's all sorts coming up, but we're going to start this week, and we're going to start with this. This is Airfix's 2021 new tool 1:72 scale Hawker Tempest Mark V. It's a beautiful kit. I have done a first impressions of it. Now I have 2 of these. So what you will get is you'll get the complete kit in its box, minus the flying hours, because I've already used them. And I am going to give you the kit that is unopened, that wasn't used for the first impressions video. So everything is in there. It is still in its bag. Instructions still folded. Decals have been moved to face down in the box, so they'll be nice and safe. With a protective sheet, you can see in good condition. So it's as new, basically. And because this is the first time we're doing it, sorry, let me put the instructions in the right order. Protect the decals, and I put the decals in upside down. See what happens when you're talking, you're not concentrating. So there we have it. As new, minus the flying hours, 1:72 scale Hawker Tempest, comes with 2 paint options. I've done a first impression, so you can go and check it out if you want. One of the options is the box art with the D-Day stripes. It's a highly regarded kit. I infused about it on my first impressions. So there you have it. If you are interested in getting hold of one of these for absolutely nothing, courtesy of me, all you need to do is put your name in the comments and say, I would be interested in the Hawker Tempest, or words to that effect. As long as I understand that you're interested, doesn't matter what you say. But I'll put all the names in the hat and we'll pull it next week. So if you're watching this video 2 weeks ago, sorry, you've missed the boat. It's probably already shipped. There you go. If you're interested in the Hawker Tempest, let's do that one free, and I'll pick another kit out next week. We'll draw one out of the hat and then talk about the next kit. And we'll be doing that until I've got rid of all the ones that I want to get rid of. And all the money will go into buying new kits that we can review on the channel. All good. Win-win for everyone. Right then. Shall we have a quick look at the garden? Well, the garden is definitely coming to life. There's more colour. My bluebells are out. I've got 2 different types of bluebells here. So the more lavender colour ones at the back, they're Spanish bluebells, which are taking over in the UK at the moment, and then actually are killing off the native UK bluebells. Solomon's seal is looking absolutely stunning. So all good there. The peony didn't flower last year because we relocated it. That's going to flower soon. And my I forget what that's called, but that's doing well. It's like an elderberry type tree. My zebra grass is starting to grow. So yeah, and my hosta is starting to open up. This has massive leaves when it's fully open, and this other hosta is doing well. Has lovely purple plants. So yeah, it's just not long ago rained, so everything's looking good. You can see the snakeskin plant has gone over. So yeah, and my fernery is looking okay. Still need to put something in there because we had something that we lost in the winter. Plum pudding is doing well. Rhubarb, I think we might get a crumble this week. Over on this side, tomato plants growing really well. Just check, doesn't need picking out, no. And this one that we put in, that's growing really well. The spring onions seem to have taken, they're happy. And my spinach is definitely growing. I've got some nice baby leaves there, but also some evidence of visitors. So that's my pepper plant. I'm not sure that's going to do much, but we'll see. And then over here, my leeks seem to be fairly happy. And I put my French beans in, and boy did they shoot up. They were planted as seeds last weekend, and then midweek we potted them out because they have rocketed up. So I'm hoping we'll get some good French beans.
and that's what's going down in the garden. Oh, and we've switched the tap on because I don't think we're going to get any more hard frosts.
Right then, that's it for this week. I've got a long weekend again. That's great. It's the King's coronation, so we've got some people going around. I've never seen a coronation live before, so it'll be interesting if nothing else. But also, we'll get a little bit of extra modelling time courtesy of the King. Thank you very much, sir. So you enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye for now.